Hello there, everyone! I'm sure you guys are aware of the new game PALWORLD, which has achieved massive success over an extremely short time. With the gameplay of literally Ark, with Pokemon instead of dinosaurs, the game is less than creative, but how creative is it exactly? Let's rank all the Pokepals according to how creative their design is. Let's go! PALWORLD is not plagiarizing Pokemon at all. For example, instead of Wooloo, we have Totally Not Wooloo, along with Totally Not Lucario, Totally Not Murkrow, Totally Not Gross Pachirisu, Totally Not Clodsire, Totally Not Delphox, Totally Not Vulpix, Totally Not Cobalion, Totally Not Raichu, Totally Not Serena, Totally Not Galarian Mouth, Totally Not Zoroark, and Houndoom, Totally Not Toxtricity, Totally Not Mantine, Totally Not Gross Cinderace. Holy shit, how did they think this was okay? Totally Not Ponyta, Totally Not Electabuzz, Totally Not Corviknight, Totally Not Goodra, Totally Not Meganium, Totally Not Decidueye, Totally Not Zapdos, Totally Not Moltres, Totally Not Goodra with a Venusaur hat, Totally Not Eevee, and Totally Not Eevee. And lastly, look at this atrocity. They literally took Dragonaire's ball tail. Hello there, please play PALWORLD. We have many great designs such as Boar, Hedgehog, Cat, Penguin, Chicken, Wolf, Cow, Mammoth, and Monkey! Now, with the generic garbage out of the way, let's move on to the actual tier list. I have decided to sort it into 4 categories. Worst one being, not creative at all. Next one, slightly creative. Next one, moderately creative, and at the top, very creative. Spoiler warning, most of the Pokepals in very creative basically look like Digimon. Let's start with the not creative at all tier. Cativa is, well, basically Meowth. However, it's pink and it has an angry face. It's not very creative. It's just a bipedal cat. Sui, while adorable, is literally just a ball of fur with 2 ears. Kilamari, while cute, is basically just a 2-armed octopus that floats. There's not really much more to it, not very creative. Depresso is so extremely basic, there is nothing redeeming about it. Fuddler, is just, you can't really do it better. It's like a mole Pokemon, a Pokepal. And again, you can't do it more. You can't do it better. Univolt is a zebra with lightning. Very basic. Lunaris does have a great design. However, it's not very creative. It looks basically like Mewtwo, right? Mewtwo Y specifically. Serpent is like a shark with no limbs or anything. It's basically just a shark. Bushi is literally just a samurai. It has no business being in a Pokepal game. Teefant is absolutely adorable, but it is nothing more than a small elephant with a little fire on its head. Beeguard is exactly what you expect of a humanoid bee creature. You can't do it better. It was doomed to fail from the start. Elissa Bee is no better. Also just a fail from the start. Nightwing is basically just a bird, and what are you gonna do with a bird? You make it look slightly menacing. You can't do more. Galewing is the same as Nightwing, except it reminds me of America. Iron looks like it could be an actual Pokemon, and that actually means it's not creative. Pokemon has not been creative for many, many years. Fwak has a certain charm to it, however, it is just a blue duck creature. Now let's go on to the slightly creative tier. Tokococo is a very colorful toucan with a mohawk, but I feel like they missed a chance calling it Tokococo. I like it though. It's more than what I expected from a toucan. Mosanda is effectively a panda covered in moss, and I really like it. It's not super creative, but it is distinct enough that I will put it a tier above not creative at all. Melpaga is so ugly, but the boots save it. It goes in slightly creative. Cinemoth is redeemed by the sheer creativity in it. It's really hard to make a moth really stand out, but I feel like they did a good job. Gorirat is supposed to be a gorilla, but if you notice the body shape, it's definitely not a gorilla. It has spiky hair. They're definitely taking some liberties. I'll allow it. Rebuni has that odd odd scarf that reminds me a lot of Sylveon, but it's so cute and has a little bow on its head. Foxicle is literally just an ice fox, but I like the hair. I like the little drip. Rayhound steals Raichu's tail, but it pulls it off. I really like this one. Tombat is very cartoony. I don't believe it should be in this game. It looks like it belongs in a different game, but it is creative, I will give them that. Elfidran looks absolutely amazing, but I will not let my bias dictate where I put things. I refuse. While you may just consider it a chubby dragon with wings, you want to notice that it has a slight Dragonite vibe, and you know we all like Dragonite, but it still does it differently enough. Kelpsy looks a lot like your cartoony, fantastical seahorse, but it's more than just a seahorse. Blazehowl, while super basic, it almost looks like a Pokemon. It's still done creatively enough that it saves itself from the bottom tier. Reptyro is another one of those I really like, and it's creative, but just not as creative as the others. Wombo is one of those creatures where I kinda can't put my finger on it, but I feel like I've seen everything about it elsewhere already. G-Dragon looks absolutely stunning. However, it's not very creative, is it? You could link it with Latios or Dragapult if you wanted. There's even a bit of Salamence on it. Vanworm is one of those I really like, despite how useless they are in game. But a bird that's black and red, I mean, it's not really new, is it? Raindrix does massive horns in a way I never thought I would see, but it doesn't really do anything more than that, unfortunately. Sibilix, I don't even know what we're dealing with. I don't know what this is. I can't judge it. Why does it exist? Now let's move on to the moderately creative tier. Gumas is a little blob. However, it has dirt and leaves growing from it. It's like a little ecosystem in a small package. It's much better than anything Pokemon has ever done. Penking is not at all a favorite, but I have to respect the concept of the pirate penguin. Daydream earns a lot of points just from its name. It's just such a great pun. It's also absolutely beautiful with that long hair and small body. It's just weaving around being a cute little friend. Gobfin has no idea what it is, and neither do I. Hangyu, if its design is what I think it is, it's very dark, but I have also never seen it before. However, it is basically still just a flying scarf, right? Haprady is like the 20th ram in the game, but it's growing like a whole bush of blossoms on its back, and I think it's beautiful. Arsox is a fire ram, sadly, but I feel like in terms of how they managed to pull it off, it actually looks kind of dope. Kitsune is a fire fox, but they went with blue fire, and the overall body shape is enough away from your typical anime fox that I will give it a pass. Lobander is a living meme, but you have to admit, its design is very special. You have not seen that anywhere before. It's just not, they're not putting a lot of effort into making it different. They're not putting enough effort into making it different. Digtoys is a massive tortoise with spikes in its back. It's very simple in design, but the way they execute it, it's different enough. Dassy is a floating lolly. I don't know what to say, but I kind of like the whole cloud aesthetic. Flambelle is so cute, and I love that they have a little bit of dried magma around its neck. I think it's great design. Krillings looks so absolutely stupid, and I hate it, but it is creative. The long body really saves it, despite how ugly it is. Petalia is so elegant. I love the flowers. It's not super creative in design, but they have a little bit of detail on it, along with the extra hair, whatever you want to call it. I like it. Sweeper is what happens when you put a mustache on a sweep, and it's glorious. Blassomat looks exactly like any other legendary Pokemon, and I like it. But it's just so much different than what Pokemon could actually muster. It's amazing. King Paga actually almost got into the top tier, but at the end of the day, it's just a big alpaca with a weird dog face. Violet is definitely some kind of insect, but I can't figure out what it is, and I think that's proof enough of it being a creative masterpiece. Lylene is basically Petalia wearing a dress, but just like Petalia, I love it. It's different enough from everything else. Suzaku earns points just from the name. I don't know why it has 3 legs, Why the hell does it have 3 legs? That's goddamn creative. Honestly, Shadowbeak almost got a tier lower. But I just feel like the execution is great. I really like that teal light color. Eikthyr is a massive elk with massive horns and a lot of fur. But where have you seen that recently? You haven't. Now on to the top tier. Very creative. And remember, I warned you earlier, these basically almost all look exactly like they could be Digimon. But that's a big compliment because Digimon design is great. Floppy is very, very humanoid, but the tail, the proportions, the ears, or hair, whatever you want to call it, I'm referring to the hair. I think it just fits together so neatly to make a whole new creature. Cognito is a crow, but it's also a plague doctor. I really like how they went about it, and I feel like it's very menacing. Maraith is easily the most scary creature in this game. It almost sends shivers down my spine. Look at that face. This thing brings death, and I have never seen anything like it before. Catrus is just a cat witch, and I'm not a furry, but it's basically the cutest of all the Pokepals, isn't it? But again, it's all about how they went about it, the way it moves. I think they did a really good job with the creativity on it. Warsect is literally a Digimon, so it gets into the very creative tier by default. Look at this menacing beast. Felbat looks like an edgy emo vampire, but it pulls it off in a way I never thought possible. Quivan is the obligatory Frost Dragon, and it's so beautiful. It's exactly what you want a Frost Dragon to be, and it's majestic while it's being it. Hellzephyr is just the example of perfect design. So creative. The lightning on its wings, absolutely stunning. Astegon looks like a brutish beast that will tear you in half with ease. The wings add a lot of flair to it, and the color of its talons are just to die for. It's really saved by the color palette. Menacing, great name. I love the name. And the scorpion design, also really good. I feel like it's really hard to make a scorpion look good, but they definitely succeeded. Yormantide, in my opinion, has the second best design. I think it's so good, it's so beautiful, it's so creative. It's such an amazing way of adapting the Worm of Midgard from Norse mythology. Absolutely great job. Orzurk is saved by its little crown thingies, the wings, and the boots. The color palette works together very nicely, but out of the ones in very creative, this one is definitely the worst one. Palladius is effectively just a paladin horse, sure, but it takes so much from the paladin inspiration, and it does it so well. And choosing to make the armor a metallic blue instead of white is a great design choice. Necromus is like a counterpart to Palladius. More of a dark knight, and I love it. I feel like the legs could have used a little bit more detail, or rather the lower body could have used a little bit more detail. But overall, I feel like as a counterpart, it does its job very well. Prostallion is an icy Pegasus, something I didn't realize I wanted until I saw this boy. It also has exactly the amount of accessories needed to make it stand out. And lastly, my favorite boy, Chillet. It's just such a cute ferret. It has a little bit of adornments on its belly, on its tail, on everything. But just the concept of a cute, fluffy blue ferret makes it take the top tier by storm. Well, that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your opinions. Please leave a like if you liked the video, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Farewell.